Are people automatically expecting Alexis when they meet me?
Oh my God, ew, David.
I think yes. And I think I often disappoint people because I'm not Alexis. I think they get someone who's still a little bit uncomfortable and overwhelmed with being met and recognized. Leading up to getting cast in Schitt's Creek, it was, a bit of a bleak hellscape. Might be a bit dramatic, but it wasn't great. I hadn't worked in almost 2 years. I had very, very little money, like a scarily small amount of money in my bank account. My apartment had just burned to ash. It was like the universe was pretty overwhelmingly telling me that I needed to move on and figure out a different career. I got the audition for Schitt's Creek and saw that it was Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy, and these two are my comedy idols. And it genuinely changed my whole life, a full 180.
But if Prince Harry trusted me with his life, then I think you can too.
It was really fun to figure out who Alexis was. I think so much of it had to do with the hair and the makeup and the wardrobe. I watched a lot of like Kardashian, Lindsay Lohan, Olsen twin stuff to kind of get, they don't do this, but I took it and I ran with it.
Annie Murphy, Schitt's Creek.
I was the last category to be announced. Like everyone in my show that I loved had just won an Emmy. And I was sitting there being so happy for them, but also being so terrified at the apologies that I would have to make when I inevitably lost the Emmy. And so that's what was going through my mind when I actually heard like the first syllable of my name.
The 6 years that I have spent working on this show have been the best 6 years of my entire life.
It was really hard to say goodbye. I really wanted to challenge myself to see if I could do anything other than like this. When Kevin Can F Himself came along and the character was such a huge departure from Alexis, I got really, really excited.
Turns out I'm actually good at doing terrible things to people who deserve what's coming to them. It's not that hard.
I was actually really worried going into it. Allison is like deeply full of rage. I was like, will I have a hard time with that? The answer is no. Everyone is kind of harboring feelings of anger and frustration and a deep desire for change. And so luckily for me, I was just able to be like, ah, there it is. That's how I can break a glass so convincingly now, is I just kind of stockpiled all of my feelings and was able to therapeutically let them out. There are many things that people deal with on a daily basis that for some reason are still taboo and not discussed. Mental health being very much one of them. And, women's bodies and birth control being another one. I started birth control when I was 16 years old, and I was just given the pill. I was just given hormones. It was just what you did if you wanted to be sexually active. And so to be partnered with Phexxi, it's non-hormonal birth control. I think as a society, we're slowly starting to stray away from the more traditional, like you grow up, you get married, you have kids, and that's what you do. I feel like there's a very intense, forward-moving wave happening right now, and I think this is coming at kind of the perfect time for that.